Welcome to Toffee TV. It is the final word. Chelsea won, Everton won. What a outstanding and shocking and surprising and slightly Christmassy. It feels like it could be part of a Christmas story.
I nearly put my Christmas jumper on.
I feel like it was a bit of a miracle. It was a bit of a miracle.
I mean, you definitely thought it was a miracle after your reaction to the team.
Listen, I seen that team and I laughed my head off. I laughed and I cried because, in equal measures, because it was hilarious.
I was, you know what?
No.
Someone sent me the team and I was like, "What do you think?" And I was like, "I'm actually quite happy with that team." Because I thought I did. Full disclaimer, I thought we'll probably get beat because look at that team and look at theirs. And I thought, but at least we get a chance to see more of Branthwaite, get a chance to have a look if Ellis Sims is up to much. There was options to change. There was obviously Gabama on the bench and on Yango. It was like Dale and Dobb and Dale probably be the players who come on because the other two we knew were carrying knocks. I mean, 7 subs and 2 of them are goalies. Yeah, kind of summed it up. But no, it was a little Christmas miracle.
It was. No, listen, that team, when you seen it, was just like, it was laugh out loud funny. How
many
injuries and stuff we had going to. It was laugh out. And it wasn't, listen, we could have sat there going, what's he playing him for and what's he doing? It was like, the man had no options.
No.
Man had no options. Coming soon, that's a new song in the chat.
Naughty Boy edition.
Man out of options. And yeah, listen, really, you can't argue with how hard all of the players worked last night. It was, there was a game plan. I mean, I wouldn't say it was executed perfectly, but you knew that, listen, Chelsea were going to have a go. Everton needed just a touch of luck, keeper to be on his toes all night, which he was. And we've ended up getting a really, really good point that just lifts everybody, lifts those fans who went to the game last night. Thursday night away to Chelsea after being at Palace a few days before.
In a terrible run.
And you think, and those, they've all gone, they've sold out again. Everything going on, COVID, all kinds, and they've gone and they've seen it, and it just lifts you. It lifts you, and when you see them, and when it's young players as well, you feel energised by that. Like there's actually hope. There's actually a little bit of belief that Everton,
we like, I mean, whether it's right or wrong, Evertonians like a battling performance. We've always responded, kind of thing, haven't we? We've always responded to that battling performance, and that's exactly what they put in last night. The kids come in, like you say, worked hard, fought for everything. And they've got the just rewards. Were we a bit lucky? Of course we were. We had to be. You can't, it makes me laugh. It really does to see people, when you look at other teams and you go, they're not doing very well. They've got loads of injuries. I mean, like Leicester have lost 2 centre-backs or something, and that's the reason why they're not in the top 3. Do you know that we haven't had our team all season, and yet you're slagging us or whatever? Yes, we've contributed to our own downfall as well. The managers helped that as well with some poor selections, but we've had a terrible amount of injuries and it's carrying on. We lost 5 players from Sunday. Do you know what I mean? And that kind of is the big thing. I mean, other teams have had games called off. Everton could have maybe made a motion to have the game called off with so many players out, but they didn't, and it's a good thing they didn't because they've got a really good point. It made me laugh though because it was on BT, wasn't it? And they're talking about Chelsea, injury problems they've got. And you're like, we had this the other week. It was Man City decimated by injuries when they played us. They had 3 men out. You're like, do you realise that we haven't got hardly any of our team?
I think that comes from the fact that we've had so many injuries all season that people get used to, what was their last team, and go, that's their team. Yeah. And then they look at the next team and go, well, you've only got a few people missing from that game. And you go, yeah, but... And then I think actually someone made the point, Glenn Oddle actually made the point, I think, on BT, in defence of Rafa Benitez. And he just said, look at the team in the first 3 games. He said, he was sort of, he's backing the manager, having a little go at the fans. And he said, but they weren't having a go at them, were they?
We had 7 points out of 9,
there's been a lot of different things since then. But But that's the point. A lot of people in the media are lazy when why we have this channel for a start. Why we started this channel.
How it started.
The people in the media are lazy when it comes to clubs like Everton, so they don't focus on stuff like what your team is or who you've been missing, or who's who or whatever. They just look at it like, well, yeah. They look at it. Oh, Chelsea. Oh, Lukaku. Oh no, Lukaku. Oh my God. And that's why when I looked at the team last night, I was just laughing my head off, thinking, look what we've got. Look at our bench. Our bench consisted of 2 goalies, Alan and Seamus Coleman, who were both injured, who were probably never going to come on, and were there.
The manager said they would never come
on. And 2 kids who had about 20 minutes between them.
And a fella who's played 3 games in 2 years. And
Gabaman, who's basically just a placeholder to not embarrass people because of all the money we paid for them and stuff. So it was just, when you looked at it and then you seen the team and basically like, what is the team? Are we playing 5 at the back? Is Mason Holgate going to push into midfield? Are we really going into a game against Chelsea with 2 in midfield? Where's Iwobi playing? Sims has never kicked the ball in the Premier League. He's starting up front. It was that thing of we're playing 5 at the back, and one of our centre backs is playing left wing back. It was mad. That's what
5-4-1.
That's what was making me laugh so much though. Beforehand, it was just like, not only have we got so many these players playing, but I haven't really got a clue where they're all playing either. So it was to me, it was textbook Everton. And listen, first we came out first. I think first couple of minutes we were a little bit shaky. They kept on sort of getting in between the centre backs and the wing backs, just getting that ball in and getting in behind. But we rode that. I mean, it wasn't like Liverpool kind of storm and played them at home. But it felt like for the first few minutes there was no way we were going to get
first 15 minutes they could have been 3-0 up. Reece James, I thought, had scored when he put it. He curled it past Pickford, which was a good move actually. Ben Godfrey went asleep a little bit. Maybe Branthwaite should have seen, but it was a warning. They had another one with, I think it was Mason Mount, side-footed it wide, or Pulisic, side-footed one wide, and then Mason Mount, went through and Pickford made a brilliant save with his feet. That was the one. That was the one. If they'd have scored that was in the first 20 minutes, then you'd have backed them to go on and win the game. Pickford stood up big, and I mean, even that they were too easy to get through. Rudiger somehow just got through on the edge of the box. And they had 2 men, didn't they? And Pickford stayed up and done really well. And you could see why Mount took it early, because he was trying to catch him out. Because I think he was thinking, Branthwaite's behind me, I need to get the shot away, and just tried to steer it under him. And Pickford stood up brilliantly. And then after that, they started getting a little bit frustrated that they weren't scoring. Like Ziyech fired one over. James, it's a good free kick, was the keeper save. But even though they were having loads of shots, you might have felt differently, but just after that first 20 minutes till half time, everything calmed down. And even though they were by far the better side, of course they were.
I think we learned how to deal with what they were doing, which was to try and get it inside the full-backs and then other wing-backs. And then after that, I think they just, because they weren't playing with a proper striker, they just started running out of ideas. And it allowed us, I think then the midfield too, they'd been running backwards a lot, started to just get their heads up, and then we started to just try and get Gordon out as an outlet ball, or just get it up to Sims and see what he could do. And we were starting to just get out a little bit more then. Not to what it basically meant was, instead of them restarting with possession halfway in our half, they were starting at the halfway line, and then they were starting a little bit further back. And we just grew into confidence a little bit. I think everyone just thought to themselves, this is not as bad as we thought it was going to be. And we just kept on, as you said, I think Pickford had to make that big save. That was the one where it was like, if that had gone in, the game would have been completely different. And I think he had one which from a long shot, he pushed wide. And there was a couple of moments.
Silver header at 1-1 was a big save.
We dealt with set pieces well in the first half and in the second half. And genuinely, people just stuck to the jobs. And the most important thing, and we talked about this in the preview, no one was making mistakes.
No.
Nobody was making mistakes. They were all just doing the jobs because the jobs are being made really simple for them. Like John Joe Kenny playing right wing back wasn't getting forward. I mean, he was playing right back essentially, wasn't he? Wasn't getting forward. He was just doing his job. A couple of times early on, he got caught out. Nothing major. But then he just went about his job nice and quiet and did it. And I think in the first half, the only one who was really guilty of making silly mistakes in that back line was Mason Holgate. Getting turned, one through the legs.
The one through the legs was
bringing people down from behind.
Rash challenge.
Just stupid.
20 minutes after 20 minutes booked away at Chelsea for a stupid challenge. I'm moaning about it. It was like, mate, he went right through the fella. He was never going to be able to get the ball. No, I know his foot touches the ball, but he's gone through the lad first foot, and it's like, you know what's coming there. And you're right, it was a case. And I thought, Ellis Sims on his Premier League debut, I thought he got hold of it as much as he could and was laying it off. Didn't really look a threat, but we didn't really create anything. I thought he did well. Branthwaite was brilliant. And in that first half, Gordon was excellent all night, stuck to his job, grew into it really. He was the one that when he picked the ball up, you looked and thought he's the one. And he had our first shot on target, didn't he, from about 25 yards. It was a comfortable save for Mendy in the first half. Gomez had the shot blocked. So we got out when we could. We had to hang in there. They've got good players, we know that, top players. Okay, they were missing Werner, they were missing Lukaku, but they still had top players, and the front three were really bright and sharp. And we rode our luck, and we got in 0-0 at half time, and you were like, all right, that was a pleasant surprise.
I think obviously there was no real pressure on us. The pressure had been taken off, I think, by the team sheet. No one expected us to get anything.
Yeah.
Their crowd was really quiet, and our fans were really loud. There was a siege mentality, and you could see that from the players as well. The players were like, if we all do our jobs, we might just get something here. And it created something where it was like, to Chelsea, I thought was like, the pressure's on you. Pressure's not on us. We just keep doing our jobs. Pressure's on... The amount of times they'd like play a through ball and no one would react, and our centre-backs would just leave it and Jordan Pickford would come out and take it. And there was that kind of...
The frustration starts then, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's where players are like, we've got to do something mad. And there was that... And again, it's like that thing of like, John Joe Kenny, you do your job, fine. Then you've done... The next fella do his job, the next fella do his job. There's no gaps in the back line. And listen, it's horrible to play against, and it's horrible to watch as an opposition. We've seen it against us in better times, or say when you're playing a team in the FA Cup lower down or something, and they come and...
See in the Premier League. Loads of times.
And it's... You hear the managers afterwards all the time frustrated. They didn't come to play, and he's always moaning about, they didn't come to play, what's the point, and all that. And you're like, aren't we allowed to come and try and nick a point? Aren't we allowed to try and get something out the game?
We're not as good as you.
Yeah, we're not as good as you. So you're like, we got to half time, and it's like, right, well, we've got through the first part. It's not going to be an embarrassment.
Yeah, which was the first win.
It's not going to be an embarrassment. Yeah. It's not going to be, a silly score. We're not going to have our goal difference decimated here.
Which is important. Yeah.
And then we came out.
I thought we were brave for second half. After about 5 minutes into the second half, we started getting braver, I thought. Yeah. We had those two moments. We had the one with the Wobie, which I sent you the picture of. And if he just looks up...
Everyone's seen the picture.
If everyone has seen it now. If he just threads the ball, Decore's 1v1, and he hesitates and then plays it to Sims.
Do you think that was brave? I mean, it was brave from us, but you also think that was a tactic from Chelsea, though, to encourage us to come out a little bit more, because that's how they scored their goal. We broke a couple of times where we'd done that, and then it led to that one, and we chose the wrong pass, and suddenly they seized on the opportunity. And yes, it was brave, there's opportunity there, but I did feel like a couple of times we did fall into a trap of because you've got they look, I think we put on Paul Machin on this the other day of saying it's what Liverpool do quite a lot, give the ball away on purpose to encourage the opposition, and then try and it's the gegenpressing, isn't it? And I think there was a couple of times where we maybe it was the wrong players, like Decore being not given for their goal. that pass when Gordon's down the left.
Played it,
So I did think there was a couple of times where...
Well, maybe, but if Iwobi looks up and plays the Corey and he's in on goal...
Oh, no, that one for us should have been... He should have been in.
He's in, and then it's him via the keeper then, isn't he? You know, he pokes it past the keeper, you win him 1-0 with half an hour left. He hesitates, he plays it to Sims. Sims should have shot, doesn't, checks back inside, and the chance is gone, and you're looking on, why didn't you just... The Corey's fuming, because he's made that run, why didn't you just thread it through? And we were getting those little moments of encouragement, weren't we? Godfrey had gone on a great run, cut in, had a shot, didn't connect with it, but... So there was little warning signs for them. You're right, they might have gone... We'll have to let these out a couple of times and see if we can nick the ball. But it's a very risky game to play if that's your play. If you're going, right, we're going to give the ball away or let them come out and you get caught. Sometimes there's no way back from that. So we were showing it, and obviously the manager then made a change after the hour mark, didn't he, and brought on Lewis Dobbin for Ellis Sims. Sims done all right, he was okay. Dobbin, I think, fared better because he pressed much better than Sims, and he's just a bit brighter, isn't he? And so he carried the threat then. All of a sudden, him and Gordon are closing people down, and Chelsea are getting a little bit frustrated. And then we have that moment, we're just about to bring Obama on, aren't we? And we have that moment where the Corey goes on that run, and he's got Gordon, so he's got players right and left, but Gordon's the pass. If he lays it off, he can get it back, and he hesitates and comes back inside and loses it. And they break, they've got the spring on us, they had Barkley on at that stage, he travels with the ball. They caught us out. I still feel like...
Don't know what Ben Godfrey's
No, I was going to say, Godfrey's got to be marking.
I've watched it again this morning.
He's sucked into a centre-back position.
Yeah, and I said that after the match. This is the problem when centre-backs play full-back, is that they come inside too much. They want to be close to the fella next to them, but that's not what full-backs are for. We've seen that before from Godfrey. It's something if you watch centre-backs play full-back, they do it all the time. They come
the natural position's going narrow,
they come narrow. They're told to stand next to the fella that they're with. It's actually really, really bad, like really criminal.
Well, no, but that happens, doesn't it?
Because it's so obvious that Mason Mount is the only pass on, and he's in so much space. And Branthwaite's got control of the situation. There's no one around Branthwaite. There's no one making a...
If Godfrey steps to his left, that pass isn't really on, or it's on and he gets it back.
There's no one making an extra run. There's no one making a third-man run. There's nothing. There's nothing to stop Ben Godfrey being there. Like, touch tight to him even. There's no reason why he shouldn't be touch tight. No. And as soon as the pass comes in, Mason Mount has literally got nothing else but the goal. And when it's absolutely terrible by Ben Godfrey. Honestly, it's terrible.
Well,
I can't excuse him, honestly, because it's terrible. We shouldn't have given the ball away, but honestly, it's such bad defending.
But that's the thing, isn't it? It's 0-0. You've ridden a difficult period. They're frustrated. And you give a goal away. You see the manager. The manager was livid. Now, whether you like Rafael Benitez or you don't, you have to feel for him in that moment that you've gone through that. It's players making stupid mistakes.
70 minutes.
70 minutes where they're frustrated, and he gives that, and it's like... Because when that went in, you go... We haven't got like a Charleston or Dom or Gray or whoever to pull you back, and you're like, oh, what a horrible moment, because we've give the impetus away.
And that's the tactic, isn't it? The tactic is, in any game like that, normally, it's like, you know you can't concede because you're thinking to yourself, we can see this game's over because if we come out now, they're going to get round the back. And so at 1-0, I think everyone's probably thinking, how do we get back in this game? You know, Chelsea are probably thinking, right, we'll get in this now.
He was still brave, put Gabamon straight on. Didn't change the sub, put Gabamon on, took Gomez off. It was shocking, let's be honest. The free kick he got booked for was just nonsense. There was no way, the ball wasn't even there. You know, I just thought he was really poor last night, Gomez. And the problem with him starting as opposed to when he comes off the bench. Gabamon come on and put himself about a little bit and just sat in a little bit with the Corey, but we go and get the free kick, which it was a foul, but the actual going down, he kicked his own foot, but he was pushed by Reece James. Gordon's over it, and what a tremendous delivery from Anthony Gordon, the kind of ball you want to see put in. And it's a brilliant run round the back from Branthwaite, and it's in, and the first thing is he offside? Yeah. You're waiting, because that's the way football is, isn't it? Especially after the Arsenal game, you're like, is he off? But then when you see it again, he's miles on, and it's you know, it's great to come round. It's great to hear them say they were practicing that the day before, that same routine. And after that, even though they were so far in control of the game, that you just had that little thing of like, we actually might nick this, which is bizarre. And we had a couple of moments where we maybe could have got a shot away.
They were nervous, weren't they?
Because
and we said this in the preview.
It's happened to Everton, hasn't it, in games?
We said this in the preview. Recently, they've been a little bit shaky, and you could sense that late on because the crowd never got up for it.
No.
You know, and our fans were obviously very, very buoyant. The people on the pitch were...
They got edgy.
Our players on the pitch were, you know, to come back from being one down in a game where you've been under the cosh, you know, people look at that. I think Tuchel came out and said it was a freak result. That was just desserts for how hard we worked. You know, and it you know, it's such a luck, of course, but the players you could see with them were like, we've conceded a stupid goal. We've got it back. Let's not concede another stupid goal. And you know, they had the Thiago Silva header.
Great save, yeah.
Great save because he was
kicked off the turf,
he was behind a pack of players.
Yeah, really good save.
Really good save. And apart from that, you know, there wasn't much. There was a save off the deflection. I think it hit one of our players on the arse and he was flying.
Going miles right, and it went in the goal.
And he pushed it wide.
And they had was it Loftus Cheek hit his shoulder and went over and landed on the top of the net off a corner.
That was a bit nervy actually.
Oh, it was,
but only because it was so spawny.
He didn't. He like went like that, didn't he? But I'm saying that other than that, it wasn't like where we've been to the Stamford Bridge in the past, and you like that as it's fizzing across the box and all that.
And we had opportunity.
We've done our job.
There was the one with Dobbin.
He should have just shot.
That to me is classic players stepping up from the under-23s, where in the under-23s
he checks back inside.
He's got a couple of touches there, whereas in the Premier League it's like...
I got it.
You've got to
the thing is, if he gets a shot away and the keeper saves or it goes wide, that's fine. But he'll learn. He worked his socks off. I mean, for just a split second, did you think it was a penalty?
Yeah, I thought it was a penalty straight away.
When he went down, I thought, oh my God, it's a penalty. Because that's what I was saying. We got, you know, that's what I'm talking about when I say we might have nicked it. It wasn't that we had all the ball. It was just, we had a couple of moments where it could have gone our way.
I was fully
And even when I looked at it again, I was going, he is on his way down.
When he did VAR,
but you know, when it went back, I was thinking, he is falling, but he has caught him as well.
I was fully expecting.
I mean, you know, when you look at it, it wasn't a penalty, but you just have that moment where when VAR look at it again, and you see the contact, because there was, but he was falling.
Did you see the Leicester one of the weekend?
Yeah, the same, wasn't it?
The same, apart from the fact that, you know, maybe there was contact. No,
there was contact, but he was on his way down.
I was thinking, Michael Keane's going to step up and get the winner.
Michael Keane.
Oh my God, Michael Keane's going to put the penalty in.
Slotting it.
It's going to be amazing. No, I was like, that's mad. I was screaming because they're the ones you get where the players are going the other way.
It's just mad,
and I thought, that's...
But it shows you how bright he is, though, because he's sharp. People don't like it.
People were criticising him. I was like, that's what I want my centre-forward doing.
For going down? Yeah. Well, he just got the touch. He was trying to get something, wasn't he? Don't get me wrong, I wouldn't want to see it on and on doing it. But in the odd occasion, there was contact, but he was falling. Yeah. So it wasn't a penalty because he was falling. But you want to see that. You want to see them. Because they're bright and lively and centre-backs don't know them. This is why I was banging on in the Brentford game and Sunday at Palace. These defenders don't know these kids. Seen Jurgen Klopp apparently said after they said Chelsea have dropped points, and he went, yeah, it's mad. He said, probably one of the first times I've ever seen an Everton team and I didn't know 5 of the players. He went, so it is a mad result. If he's someone who looks at everybody, so if you throw this kid on with 10 minutes left in a game, you're losing. These centre-backs don't know what he does, and you might get those moments, and that was why I was fuming with Benitez at Brentford and against Palace, because you may get those moments. But the other one, if he gets a shot away, and that's what he'll have to learn if he's going to continue being involved.
Well, that's where, like...
Just take a snap.
That's where, like, people talk about Ellis Sims and, like, Mason Greenwood and gone, Ellis Sims' record is amazing. Much better than Mason Greenwood's at like under 23 and under 18.
Well, it was, but Greenwood's
a better player. Greenwood just hits shots.
Of course he does.
He just goes ping.
Even the one when Iwobi should have played it to the core, he gave it to Sims. He tried to come back.
I'm not having to go with Sims, by the way. That's not me. I'm going to go with Sims. That's what I'm saying.
As a centre forward, get the shot.
Mason Greenwood just goes ping. He's got a thing with ping. You know, no back. And that's where, when plays come up, that's, you know, seen the kid playing for Villa. He looks like
Jacob Ramsey,
he just gets it out of his feet and he has his natural ability.
The only way, a lot of these keepers are fantastic. These Premier League goals, even ones you say not very good, they're obviously brilliant. The way to beat them is early shots. I've seen Shelby's goal against Liverpool last night. Just get that shot away. Take people by the element of surprise. And these lads, if they are to be given more time, we don't know whether they will now, but they did the job last night. If you get that half a yard, get your shot away. It's why you'll see people like Pukki, who gets 20-odd goals in the Championship. Yeah. Because there's more, you get more time in the Premier League. You don't get that extra step. So when it comes, you've got to just get the shot away. But listen, we made them have a few edgy moments. And the thing was, you know, we put that board up for 5 minutes and you're like, why 5 minutes? And you're thinking, I kind of expected us to lose. And if we'd have lost 3-0, you'd just be like, all right, look at the team. Well, when you've battled and worked and got back to 1-1 and you're into stoppage time, you're thinking, please don't throw this game away because it'll be devastating if they get...
And there was only one moment in that injury time, and it was actually Branthwaite. He came out of the back four with the ball,
and lost.
And he should have just put his foot through it, and he loses it, and then suddenly there's a gap.
They had the break.
And you're thinking,
the ball went through, didn't he? And they were on the edge of the box, and I think and we got bodies back, and it ran through. And Pickford was doing the full Nev though, wasn't he? The waiting and then falling on it and rolling, full Neville Southall, moving the ball on goal kicks, which is exactly what you have to do sometimes to get the point. We've seen it. Ben Foster wastes time after 40 seconds at Goodison. You've got to break the game up, and it worked. The plan worked to a certain extent. In fact, they did what they were asked to do. They rode the luck, of course. They'd seen a couple of people bemoaning the XG and this, that and the other. What a load of bollocks. We had 11 men out. No one's saying that's the blueprint, that you go forward. And if they play like that, they'll win the league. It was a game.
Look at the 3 subs we brought on.
Exactly. You've got to look. Sometimes you've got to take everything else away from it and go, hang on. They went there with 11 players injured against the European champions. Okay, they had a few out, but they still had a hell of a side and a hell of a bench. And they've come away with a point. Doesn't matter how they got there. They come away with a point. And it's an extra point. And it's a point no one thought they'd get. So that's the good thing about it, isn't it? Some lads have really shown that maybe they can step up or be involved. You know, maybe, Jared Branthwaite, now you're looking and going, well, he's had a hell of a performance there. Could he potentially play every week then? Possibly. One thing I took from it is he's probably ahead of Mason Holgate.
Well, let's look at his numbers.
So there you go. 1 goal, first Premier League goal, 3 clearances, 2 tackles, 1 interception, and 4 out of his 6 duels.
So of course he was playing in a back 3 or part of a back 5, so that's going to have helped them.
Of course, yeah.
But we spoke about this the other day, saying, you just signed the contract, saying, is it worth now putting him in the squad, as in and around? Yerry Mina, there's major doubts about how many games he's going to play. Mason Holgate doesn't impress anyone.
He's just stuck, isn't he, Holgate?
Yeah, he needs to get go and play. And for me, I look at Branthwaite and listen. If everything was, if he was at like a somewhere like Brighton or somewhere like that, let's say, I think he'd be playing week in and week out. But Everton being Everton and the pressures that come with Everton from every angle, means that young players like that don't always get those opportunities to play. Yeah. To get, because ultimately, people talk about career paths and all this kind of thing and going on loan and all. Players get better by playing games of football. It's like anything else. No matter what skill you're learning, the only way to get better at it is by actually doing it. And at the level you're supposed to do it at. Yeah. And it's great when they go on loan, they get experience, lower down divisions. If you want a player to be a Premier League player, he has to learn in the Premier League. It's the only way. It's the only sink or swim at times. But that's become frustratingly harder and harder because the level of the Premier League's gone up, the pressure of the Premier League, the pressure to bring in players, block the path. It's why players have been leaving the club because they see no career. It's mad that Thierry Small left the club and now like the left back position is like, you know,
No. I mean, it's
up
not.
for grabs.
It's
It's
now.
not getting Dave. But I think there's a real opportunity, because I remember the conversation me, you and Andy had at the back end of the season before last, and I was like, I can see this fella being our like Tony Adams.
Branthwaite, yeah.
I was like, he could be our John Terry. And I think Andy was a bit like, I'm not sure about that. I was like, no, I do. Like, I saw it then and I see it now. He's got like this, he's got that confidence, hasn't he? And I'm not basing that on one performance. I just look at him, like you said it before, when he was like, he said to Gordon, when he said on the interview, I told him just keep whipping it in practice. It's like, he's a 19-year-old kid talking to another young lad.
But you have that though, don't you? Some kids have that.
Yeah.
I listened to, when our game finished, because I wanted Newcastle to get battered, I put the last couple of minutes of Liverpool on, because they were on the other channel, weren't they? And Trent Alexander-Arnold scored that absolute worldie to kill it off, which was a screamer.
Assisted by the ref.
It was. Great run. Decoy run by Mike Dean.
Yeah.
Referee in Liverpool games, allowing the first goal when there was head injury. And then I heard him talking after the game, and he's like,
perfect example.
The way he talks is like, you were looking at him going, well, mate, are you 35 and have played foot? But that like desire and thing, Jarrod Branthwaite, listen to him talk after the game, you know, it just there, but I mean, it says buzzing a lot, which is fair play. But he's got that ready, I think probably because he come through with Carlisle, so he's got that edge about him already. He's been in there, don't forget he played in there.
Born in Carlisle, but he was
made in Liverpool. But because he got in their first team at 17, 18, didn't he?
Yeah,
so he's had to work with, and men have been there, and it's like, we've got to do, this is our livelihood, blah, 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 all of that down to earth, you battle, you throw, and that, because he's got that, I think that carries them such a far way. Some kids have it, like Rooney, Gerrard, those kind of scousers have had that. But other ones who've come through the academy, it's all like, you know, softly. Some lads just, they have the ability, but they don't have that other
character.
Bit. And I feel as though, Jarrod Branthwaite has a little bit of that. Listen,
no one knows
what he'll
not
do.
like, listen, I'm not
good.
advocating him playing centre-back every week for us just because he had a good game last night. What I mean
but
is
he'll be in the manager's thoughts, because the manager come out and said, no, he mightn't even let him out on loan.
I would love to, I'll be honest, I would absolutely love to see Everton go out and buy a top-class centre-back, and I don't think they will. And then you put a Branthwaite next to that centre-back, and I think you've got a partnership. And
Can Godfrey not do it? No.
Branthwaite's a better defender than Godfrey by a mile.
So where do you think with Ben Godfrey? Because Everton clearly like him. He's got all the attributes.
He'll play whenever he's needed.
Where will he? So he's just a utility man.
He's not. He's not like a proper footballer, is he? He's like.
No, but is it because we've moved him around as well?
The thing about Godfrey,
I'm just asking
and I'm not slagging him off at all. He's someone who's young and is learning as well.
22.
Yeah, he's 22, second year in the Premier League, or third year, sorry, because he was in Norwich. He's learning as well, and that goal typifies it for me last night. It's just like
full back though, isn't it?
Football pass, come on.
No, we should listen. I'm not.
Take 5 steps to the left, fella.
You just go to the fella who's on his own. You naturally
go.
That's
what I'm saying. It's that. That's what I'm saying. It's. I look at some players, and it doesn't matter how young they are. They understand where they should be. The ball magnets.
And you look at the instinct.
They understand where they need to be. And some players are fellas who can work all day, run through brick walls. Like that run you said before about Godfrey. If I'd expect, it wouldn't just shock me when he made that run and cut through inside. If he'd smashed it with his right foot,
he should have smashed it. Yeah, he was
looking
for a pass.
He's that kind of lad. But he's also like, he's got so much to learn defensively of where to stand, where to be, positional.
Well, he was a defensive midfielder, don't forget.
He's got lots to learn, and that's why I'd never go those two. It'd be, imagine having a 29-year-old Dave Watson alongside Branthwaite, you know, or someone like
Godfrey.
You know, someone like that, or even Yerry Mina fit next to Branthwaite. Be brilliant.
Or Godfrey.
You know, but
if they were your three, if Yerry Mina was Michael Keane, basically with where I've been, he's always available and fit.
But Keane was great last night.
He was very good last night.
Keane. I'm not going to have a go at Keane. He was great
they're
last night. And again,
they're the games he's good at.
Because his job was made very, very simple for him. Branthwaite, I think, has got to be in the conversation now to be the fourth choice centre-back. Mason Holgate, I'd be encouraging offers in January. I really would. Because I think maybe the manager will be thinking, well, he is the fourth choice, because actually Ben Godfrey at the moment is a utility player. He's playing at left back at the moment.
Yeah.
But if we sign a left back,
when?
Yeah, no.
Well,
yeah.
when it's announced, you mean?
Then we can put him at right back maybe and give Seamus a bit of a
blow.
Rest.
Yeah.
So maybe he's the fourth choice at the moment. But if honest to God, and you know what, I say this. If there's an opportunity for Mason Holgate and go and play for someone else, he's going to play every week and develop as a footballer. Because when you think about Mason Holgate himself, every season is like stop-start for one reason or another. He needs to go and play somewhere where he can play some games, and I'm sure he'll turn out to be an Ashley Williams level centre-back. I think he'll be fine, but I don't think that's at Everton. I just don't think it'll ever work at Everton now. So get the money, get 15 million in for him, let him go somewhere.
If someone wants him, isn't it?
Newcastle, go on, you've got loads of money. Go and get him.
They need a centre-back.
You need a centre-back, bring them in. And then get that money back in. And as I said, I don't necessarily think he's ready to start. And in fact, he played in the back 4-5 last night, so who knows what he'll be like in a 2. But the opportunity to play more games and develop him is the thing that's going to make him
Don't forget,
a better player.
He did play in it too a few times under Ancelotti and was very good. Apart from Wolves, he makes debut at Wolves, didn't he?
Sheffield United, he was brilliant.
Yeah, he
was brilliant. And every time someone thought he had him for pace, and he
even
got back.
Villa at home that year, he come on, didn't he? Because he come back Holgate and then went off and he come on.
I think we spoke about it. His biggest thing was he wasn't really that good in the air.
No, that's the problem.
And last night he never looked uncomfortable in the air, I would say.
I think they're working on him, man. They're working on his right foot and all that. And obviously he's been doing heading stuff with Ferguson. He's been doing aerial stuff with Dunk. So if he improves that as well. But that's what you want, don't you? You want that. But you're absolutely right. We do need a mainstay centre-back. And then if you had like whoever that was, and then you had like, Keane's not going anywhere, is he? So if you had Keane, Godfrey and Branthwaite, and this new, because obviously I'd hope it was Yerry Mina, but by all accounts, Napoli are taking Mina in January.
That ship sailed.
So I think he's only got,
Captain Keane. It was great last night.
If Michael Keane performed like that every week, no one would say a word.
No.
But for every performance like that, there's Crystal Palace on Sunday.
There is. But let's just talk about another young player who I thought was fantastic last night, who really took the responsibility, became a man in many ways. Andy Gordon, like really, for me last night, took the responsibility of, I've got to be the difference here. Picking the ball up, running with it, getting fouls, the ball in for the goal.
Clever.
Do you know what he reminded me of? Stephen Pienaar last night. Just the way he won the fouls and the intelligence to run into good areas of the pitch.
Maybe Tom Davies had the weapon. No one better in our squad than buying free kicks than Tom Davies. There's a lot of other things he can't do, but he's superb at buying free kicks.
Just
Gordon was brilliant.
The sense, having the good sense to know where to run and where not to run, picking up the ball and saying, right, well, if I run over there, I'm running into trouble. Let's run over here, make them come out, and then I'll take the foul. And he did it all night. He really took the responsibility.
Can he be someone who becomes a mainstay in this side? Because he's again, going up, isn't he?
Again, what I would say is, there's a, and I'll say this about everyone who played last night. I said it last night, and how I described it last night was a lot better. It's the Tom Davies of it all, right? I had a boss word for it last night, I can't remember. It's when you have performances like this, that all that stuff looks bosh.
Level, though, doesn't it?
It's when you have games where you need that little bit of quality.
Do you not think he's got it?
No, I do, but he hasn't shown it.
Yeah,
like
put it all together, innit?
I don't think he's had an assist this season. And
he did last night.
Yeah, sorry. since this season.
That's only his second assist.
Yeah, his first one was against Leicester in the season before last season.
Yeah. No, season before last. Lockdown 1.
Lockdown 1.
Yeah.
Lockdown 3.
Yeah.
He hasn't scored for us.
Goal, yeah.
And I'm not having a go at him for that.
No.
Because I can definitely see he's going, oh, look, you're playing more games. You're getting better at that football.
The experience, though,
right.
as well.
Experience. So there has to be more quality. And I think with more games comes the quality. Getting savvy, starting to be tactically starting to. I would say if there's been one benefit of Benitez so far, I can see in Anthony Gordon. Saying.
We saw it at Old Trafford. In fact, the two best Everton performances of being United away and Chelsea away.
Ancelotti used to scream at him to get back. No issues with that anymore. Gets back, gets into his position. It's the other side. But a game like this didn't require that. But I thought his work rate was sensational. I thought his cleverness.
He won 11 duels last night.
Yeah. I thought his work rate was sensational. And I just thought he was so clever. Let's just have a look at his numbers.
Assists 1, key passes 1, which was that. Big chances created 1. Completed 75% of his dribbles, and won 11 out of the 18 duels. Like you've said, he also had 3 or 4 interceptions as well, which was one of the highest with the Corey. So had a good shot as well in the first half. You know, it was good because it was a shot on target. And the keeper had to move to get it. But I think you're right, there's a little thing with this quality now, can he step it up? The ability seems to be there. The work rate is definitely there with him. The enthusiasm is there with him. He wants to do well for Everton. If he puts it all together, we could have some player. You know, and that's what you want, 20 years of age.
He's been part of the squad all season now, hasn't he? He's played in the majority of the games. You know, he is playing. He is coming off the bench at times. He's getting, I think, as I said, there's more and more to come, I think, because watching him in the under-23s when he first broke through, some of the goals he was scoring, some of the kind of goals he was scoring, some of the just different ways he did things. The ability is there. It's unlocking it in the Premier League because, like we said about Sims and like we said about Dobbin, you get a split second to do something. And I often look at him when he's playing and I think that split second is lost in his head. He goes to do something and then he goes, I don't know if I can do that, and stops and thinks I'll do something else. I think the more confidence he gets, the more he gets physically gets a little bit stronger, the more he'll start doing that. Like, because I would even say about the fouls, Tom Davis ain't going to get the fouls he used to get all the time about winning fouls because those fouls aren't getting given. It's how, if you're a player like him and you've got away from the lad and he takes you out, then it is a foul. You can't just run into people anymore and get fouls.
No.
We're not getting those fouls anymore. So I think he's got a little bit of intelligence. He just has to keep going and start doing things in the moment a little bit quicker. And I think he's got that ability. He's only 20, loves playing, wants to play.
It's good size as well, isn't he? For a winger, he's a good size. I think he's 5'11" or something.
Pace.
He's a good lad. So.
He's got a little bit of pace. He's got, I think, more and more will start to come out. He just needs to. It's not easy, of course, playing in a team that struggling. You know, I think with someone like Dom, if Dom comes back and then you've got Dom in the box, you've got
a target.
You've got target. You can start getting those assists, getting those little things.
Moments of confidence, then, isn't it?
And I think there's a player there.
Then if you look at it, and this is what when people say, oh, well, with this or with that, we haven't got this and we haven't got that. But if you look at a front line then and you go, well, Calvert-Lewin's back and Richarlison's back and Gray, and you've got Townsend, you've got Gordon. You know, you've got options there.
An option,
there's threats, isn't it? There's threats.
It's an option, but for him, though, he's got to start adding more.
He's got to get goals. He's got to get goals.
And he's got to have an influence on the game. You look at Gray and you just say, everyone knows Gray has an influence on the game. Every game is an influence on. That's what he's got to start doing. But last night he was sensational. One of the best performances by a young player I've seen for a very, very long time. Where someone just went, you know, tonight, I'm having this. And he really did.
For the whole game,
He took the game by the scruff of the neck.
Did he? It was the whole game.
Yeah, the whole game. Those numbers don't lie, you know.
But that's confidence though then as well. He'll get huge amounts of confidence for the free kick.
Yeah.
Because it is ball in, has got us to put,
and it's different, isn't it? Something a little bit different. That's not, the typical one is, just get it into the plaids in the middle of the box. He's put that
back
right
post.
over the top and
post.
in a perfect place.
And
they said, we've been working on that. That's brilliant. That's what you want.
I'll give him a lot of confidence, and hopefully he can kick that on then, and you settle down and you look at that and go, yeah, had a great game there. Can I keep that going? They've got what, 9 days now, haven't they, before the Burnley game? If that goes ahead.
To get people fit.
So they've got a chance to recover players. Yeah. These lads who've been playing quite a few games of late, can have a couple of days off and get themselves up. Dom, I think, will be back for Burnley if that goes ahead. He'll be on the bench, I imagine. It's another week. It's a week of 9 days for Richarlison to recover. Because the important thing with that Leicester game, and we said this yesterday when it was looking like possibly it could go off, that's a game Everton can win with all it. Yeah. They're a good side with good players, but at home with our crowd, if we've got the majority of our players, that's an opportunity for 3 points. So, Everton can benefit from that, really. By the time we play Leicester next time, we could have Richarlison fit, Dom fit, Meaton, whatever, new left back, could even have a new right back. Could have a different side to what we were able to put out this time.
No.
But, so you've got to look at it, and I imagine the manager will look at it and go, you know what, we've just got a really good point that no one expected us to get. And we're now going to have some time to enjoy that point while we're recovering players, because that's the biggest thing.
It's time, innit? You don't get time when you need it. It's unrelenting once the season starts. Sometimes you just need a moment here or there, and obviously this game being off.
And we're also, by the way, not saying that this point makes everything all right, because it doesn't. The manager still has to be better. Stuff still needs sorting at this football club. The players have to take responsibility and be better. Those lads last night, the young lads, embarrassed some of our senior pros last night. Absolutely embarrassed them by what they put in, that effort they put in last night. If Delford, could we have said that those players who were missing would have put that same effort in? Possibly not. And Everton might have got beat 3-0. And it'd just been like, oh well.
And everyone would have just... and that's sometimes what you don't see, you don't realise at times. And it's only when, funny enough, when you watch those top sides in the Premier League and how hard they work, Chelsea on occasions, but more like Man City and Liverpool, how hard they work to win games, and how hard, like the derby the other week, how hard Liverpool...
They were relentless, right?
And last night, okay, quality maybe not there, but work rate, embarrassing people. You're right, Delph would have just shuffled about last night.
He's not the only one.
We've seen Gomez shuffle about, and we've seen,
But look at the difference between Rondon and Dobbin.
Yeah.
In terms of just putting players under pressure. Sims worked. He's a little bit Rondon-y like, isn't he? That he's not as mobile as what Dobbin was. But when Dobbin went on, he made the three of them very uncomfortable. It's just by running players.
Sometimes you see it from the same players. Like the difference between, say, Richarlison in some games between the Richarlison who played against Arsenal, you see it, where he just hasn't got himself going and isn't in that mindset. But last night with a lot of the young players, in the second half, there was an enthusiasm, and then to see the likes of Nyong'o come on as well. And that was the thing, to send on Dobbin, Gbamin and Nyong'o to protect.
Trust that, doesn't it?
We've just, even when Gbamin for the first 5 minutes was just shocking. He was, no, I know, but for the first 5 minutes he was like, where am I? And then he settled down a little bit. And that's what I'm saying. It's that even shows even more how good a point it was when you look at the subs and go, we didn't send on experienced heads to see the game out. We had even more younger players on the pitch. So it was a very impressive point. And
finished with 5 academy players.
And that's what the manager now can turn around. And he might turn around, and when people go, oh, why isn't he playing him? Or why isn't he playing him? Well, just ask yourself the question, why aren't people working harder? Why, when people go, oh, Seamus Coleman will run through a brick wall for this cup, but he can't run through a brick wall because he's physically not possible. So you've got to bring someone in who can. oh, Luca Dean's got a cold today. Okay, well then we'll bring someone else in who will run.
We're not good enough that we can stroll around the pitch and keep the ball and win game. We're not. We've proven that. No matter how much money we spent, we're not. So we have to have that work rate and effort. And when you've got work rate and effort with talented footballers, the chances are you win a lot of football matches. When you've got some talented footballers that don't work hard, it's very easy for other teams to come and... Watford were terrible at Goodison. They were abysmal.
But they stayed in it.
And they stayed in the game, and when the chances come, they ended up running riot because we lost our heads. It just shows it. We could have nicked the game last night that Chelsea controlled and should have won comfortably. You've got to battle and scrap. If Everton battle and scrap for the rest of the season, they do all right. But
let's have a little look at the stats. The game.
23 shots to 5, 10 on target for Chelsea, 3 for Everton, 6 big chances to Chelsea, 1 for Everton, 80-20, 778 passes for Chelsea, 189 for Everton. The 10 shots, though, when you think about it, Pickford, Reece James' free kick was a decent save, and the one Silva, and the one from Mason Mount.
We'll talk more about Pickford when we go over to Patreon.
But really, if you think about it, you know, a couple of them were like simple catches, or there was one the back heel by Thingy, which he just caught. It looked nice, but it was never going in. That kind of thing. They were the better side. You couldn't sit here and go, oh, you know, we kept them quiet because we didn't, but we stayed in the game.
Look at the team. Look at our team, look at their team.
That's it, isn't it?
Incredible. There you go. We'll continue this conversation on Patreon, because we're live right now on Patreon. So we'll continue this conversation there. We'll be talking about Jordan Pickford, and we will take your questions over on Patreon about the game. So stay tuned for that. Everybody else, thank you for watching. Big point for the Blues. You can now enjoy your weekend, and you can enjoy your Christmas week without worrying too much. Make sure to give this video a like, subscribe if you haven't, and if you want to join us over on Patreon, please do. Please do. The link is in the description and it'll be on the screen. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you later.